Hi y'all, bonjour, hola, welcome back. My name is Trish. If you're new on this channel, welcome. On this channel, we have fun. Talking about fun, did y'all have fun with Clarissa? If you missed it, you need to go look at the last video I posted. You are going to have a blast. I promise you. So in today's tutorial, oh, by the way, I will occasionally have Clarissa join me so that we have a one-on-one conversation with y'all. So for today, I want to show you how to transform your black and white photo or a black and white of your mom or your dad into a colored image. Your shot is very easy to do. So just stay put and I'll be right back. So before we move ahead, you all know that I like to showcase the work that I get from y'all. So last week I did a CD cover. One of you to send me your version of the CD cover, and this came from Jack. Yeah, Jack was the one who did the graduation card. He sent me this finished work, and this is what I did. It looks so much alike, and I'm so proud of you, Jack. Well done once again. So without further ado, let's jump right into this tutorial. So in order to turn this black and white image into colored, there is one thing that I recommend that you do, and that is for the skin. It's very difficult to match the skin color. So the best thing to do is to find an image of a skin color that you want to match. So what I did was I pulled in another image of a skin color that I like. I'm going to use my eyedropper tool. I'm going to click on my paint, and then I'm going to just pick a color. So you can pick whatever color that you want. So I'm going to pick this darker area of her skin. I'm going to close that, and I'm going to go back to my image. To start off, you want to first of all make sure that you go down to your adjustment levels and you want to click on solid color. And I'm going to click OK. So we have our skin color. And what I'm going to do now is that you want to click on the layer mask that is generated once you create your solid color. You want to hold down your control and press I on your keyboard. Now the layer mask is inverted. So the only way that you will see the color now is if we reveal it. And how do we do that? You want to pick your brush tool. You want to make sure your foreground is white. Now, always know that white reveals, black hides. We want to do one more thing. You want to go to your blending options, and we're going to change the blending options to color. And now we are going to paint. And now when you paint, you realize that you get a very natural color that shows up. So I'm just going to paint over the eyes for now. We are going to paint over to hide the color in the eye. I'm going to do the same thing for this area. But as we go closer to the hair and other areas, you want to decrease your brush head, your paint brush head, and then you just gradually paint in between. So now that we have this, I'm going to zoom in so that we can get rid of the areas that we painted that we shouldn't have. So you want to pick back your paint bucket, the paintbrush. You want to flip your foreground to black, and you want to use that to paint. And as I said, the black hides. So as you invert your foreground color to black, when you paint, it then begins to hide. So we want to paint this area as well. So now that we have this, we want to also make sure that we take the color out of the eyes. And we're going to do the same thing for this area as well. Okay, so now you're wondering, how about the areas around the hair? So to do those areas, we are going to increase our brush head just a little. And you want to make sure that your flow, you take your flow down. So we want to make sure that our foreground is white, and we are going to paint. And notice that you get that color bleeding through the hair, but it's not so much that it's as though you're painting over the hair. And now we want to do this area as well. So as you can see the skin color, but it's not too much in terms of the color. So this looks really good, you know. So I'm going to zoom out so we can see. And oh, my mouse is not working. I need to get a new mouse so I can easily zoom in and out. So the next thing that we want to do is now color the background before we color the shirt. So we want to go back to our adjustment and pick a solid color. And this time we want a green. So we're going to go for like a forest green, something like this. I'm going to click OK. And then we want to change the blend option to color. And we want to click on our layer mask, hold down your control, and then click on I to invert it. And we're going to pick our paint bucket, and we're going to increase our brush head. You want to make sure that your flow is back to 100, and we're going to increase the brush head, and we're just going to paint over this area. And as we get closer to the subject and the hair, we are going to change our brush head so we don't paint over the hair. I'm going to decrease this a little bit more so we can get a little bit closer. So now I'm sure you're wondering, how are we going to do the green area behind the hair? So this is where you want to reduce the flow. And now watch when I paint over. So you can see that you still get the greenery effect, but it's not so dark as the ones at the edge. So you can still see the hair coming through. Of course, you are going to have a little bit of the greenery on the hair, but then when we add the color to the hair, it's going to hide that. So now this is looking really good. We've done two things so far. I want to paint this area a little. I'm going to take this all the way, and I'm going to paint and take away the green on the shirt. I'm going to do the same on the side. So now we want to tackle the hair. So we are going to go back to our adjustment, and we're going to choose solid color, and we want almost like a goldish, darker color. We have to experiment till we get what we want. So something like this, we're going to close that, and I'm going to change it to color, and then click on the layer mask, hold down my control, and then press I. So we can now begin to paint. You want to make sure that your foreground is white with your brush. Now we are beginning to see the hair color, and this is a very good choice. So we're just going to paint this over the hair. And now I'm just going to reduce the flow so we can begin to paint this area as well. And I'm just going to paint over. So I'm going to go back, decrease the flow, and then we're going to do something like that. So the hair begins to sort of show in the greenery as well. We're just going to go ahead and paint over the hair. We'll do this area as well. Go ahead and add a little bit more greenery around this area of the hair. Notice how faint the color is within the hair. So it's not too much, but you still see the hair. So I'm going to take this down just a little more, and I'm just going to paint this area. So you sort of get a little bit of the greenery coming through, but the hair is still being seen. So I'm going to zoom in just a little, and I'm going to paint this area. I'm going to add a little bit more of the green color. So I'm going to decrease my brush head so I can make my way in here. And I'm going to increase my flow just a little so I get the greenery in this area as well as this area. And this area too. And we want to see the full thing. So this looks amazing. So the next thing we're going to do is to add some color to his shirt. So I'm going to go back to my adjustment and choose solid color. And we want a deep blue. We want something like this. We want to move this layer up. And now I'm going to change the blending option to color. We want to click on our layer mask, control, hold it down, click on I on your keyboard. Now you want to pick your paint bucket. I'm sorry, I keep saying paint bucket, but I've been meaning to say brush. You increase your brush head, and then you want to make sure your flow is at 100, and then you can begin to paint this area. So as you can see, it's really coming to life. The next thing we want to do is to add a color to the shirt. So I'm going to click on my top layer, go to my adjustment, add solid color. We are going to choose a hot pink. I'm going to click OK. I'm going to change the blending options to color. And we are going to click on our layer mask, hold down Control I, and then we can now paint over using our brush. We want to increase our brush head. And I'm just painting over. Oops. I'm going to reduce my brush head a little. And as you can see, it's beginning to look fantastic. Just like that. And we're going to reverse it so we can get rid of the one that is bleeding, the color that is bleeding beyond the shirt. And we want to flip, we want to erase the color on the button. We want to keep the button white, just like that. So I'm going to go ahead and zoom out so we can see. This looks good. I have a little trick to show you. We want to double click at the far right of our layer. You want your under layer to bleed through the color. So to do that, you're going to hold down your Alt, and then you want to split this so that your color begins to bleed through the shirt. So we want to do the same thing here. So it's more realistic. So we're going to collapse that. We can do the same thing for the green, and then we want to split. So you hold down your Alt, you split your under layer just like that, and we're going to click OK. So the last thing I want to do is to add a little bit of a shadow effect around the hair area and around the neck. So to do that, I'm going to create a new solid color, but this time we want to make it a little bit more like a little bit more darker. We are going to change this color, blending options to color, and then you want to click on your layer mask, press Control I to invert it. We're going to pick our brush, and you want to make sure that your foreground is white, and we want to decrease our flow. And we are going to decrease our brush head. And we're just going to gently paint in this area. So I'm going to erase a little bit because the color is getting on the hair. Something like this. If you want it a little bit more darker, we can double click on the color and we can begin to play with it. So we get something a little bit more natural. Something like this. I'm going to collapse it and I'm going to increase my brush head a little with my flow more, with my flow down. You want to make sure that you are on the layer max and we want to paint in this area. I'm going to increase my flow just a little so we can get, did you guys notice I was on the wrong foreground color? So I'm going to click on so I changed my foreground to white, and now when I paint, you can see that the color begins to show a little bit more. So it makes it look a little bit more natural. Oops, it seems like I'm painting over the other color. So I'm just going to get rid of those. And I think we are done. This is really nice. The last step I want to show you is combining everything and using your camera raw effect. So to do that, we are going to click the last layer, the top layer, to select everything, holding down your shift. And now we are going to click on our group icon folder. It will group everything for us. I want to show you the before and after before we add the camera raw effect. So this is the before and this is the after. You want to make sure you click on your group layer, holding down your Shift Control Alt E. It will give you one image. Now you want to go to Filter, Camera Raw. And then in Camera Raw, you get to now enrich your final image. So I'm going to take down the exposure a little and I'm going to increase the saturation. I'm going to take the vibrance down just a little, or you can make it a little bit more. I like that. I want to increase the contrast just like that. I love it. I'm going to click OK. So I want to even show you the before and after. So this is what we had before I added the camera raw effect. And this is the final image. And I want to show you what we had before. So this is the black and white, and we transformed it to that. I so love this. I hope you found this tutorial very fun and exciting. Please try it out. Always know that I will have a link to the image in the description below. You can download and try this. I really want you to try this out and see what you were also able to create. So till next time, bye for now.